do a little bit more on this. I've been doing Periscopes this morning, specifically about John Solomon. Oops, hang on one second. I can hear audio feedback. Oops. I forgot to turn on my light. Oh, look how quicker that is. How's everybody doing? Hope you're doing well. I'm Lee Stranahan. I am here at the office of Citizen Journalism School and Populous.tv, my home office. Do me a favor, retweet this puppy while people are coming in. I'm just going to give you a real quick update here on a couple of things. This will not make all the sense in the world if you didn't watch my first two parts this morning, talking about how John Solomon is controlled opposition, has been used by Fox and other people to spread to the right lies about this whole story. And I'm not going to go into the whole thing now because I talked about it earlier. I'm going to update you on some stuff. I showed you earlier some timeline stuff that I use. Let me bring that up and show that to you first. Hang on. So what I did was I talked about, oops, what have I done here? Oh, hang on. I would have thought that I had hit it and it would just go up. Well, let's try it again. Ready? There we go. There's the timeline. Sorry about that. So here is the timeline, and I pointed out in one of the last Periscopes that the way I would do this, I was adding stuff, trying to understand this, and I showed you how I use this timeline software called Aeon Timeline, which we teach at Citizen Journalism School, by the way. And I talked about how John Solomon's story came out on July 12th. Exclusive DOJ let Russian lawyer into U.S. before she met with Trump team. That's a completely deceptive headline for reasons I outlined. But what I want to point out to you, my friend Kelly called, and he pointed out that actually just 4 days before that, July 8th, and I've added this to my timeline, is the first breaking story about the Trump Tower meeting. I'm going to say that again. 4 days before John Solomon broke his story, deceptively talking about the Russian lawyer, the Trump Tower story had broken. So really it came out just very quickly, within a couple of days, 4 days. But I mean, the story came out later in the day initially, blah, blah, blah. This is very quick. Now, let me show you something else. One of the things that's helpful is Twitter has an advanced search function. And again, one of the things we talk about at Citizen Journalism School, but I want to show you how this works. You can, just by entering things, you can do a search for, see it says from : Bill Browder, since : with a date, until : This shows me all of Bill Browder's tweets. Hang on one sec. This shows me all of Bill Browder's tweets between July 6th, 2 days before New York Times broke the Trump Tower story, and the 14th, a couple days after Solomon wrote his first story. And what I want you to notice is, so here's July 8th. Background on Natalia Veselnitskaya, who met with Trump Jr. and spent 2016 trying to overturn U.S. Magnitsky sanctions. Now, by the way, this is interesting because I'm just going to note that this article, if you click through to it, hang on. Here, I'll do it this way. Open a new tab. I don't want to close this. You'll notice that this article that he tweets out is written by Michael Weiss. Now, I've talked about Michael Weiss a whole bunch before. If you've been following my work, you know all about this. Michael Weiss, I got a little graphic here that I made, but Michael Weiss, connected to Bill Browder, is also, he's a CNN analyst. He's an editor at the Daily Beast. He worked for Mikhail Khodorkovsky. He's connected directly with Andrea Chalupa. You can find that on YouTube very easily. He was also the person who got McCain involved in Syria and the Ukraine. He's also connected to the Henry Jackson Society in London. You can find this all out from his resume. I'm not going to go through it now. Michael Weiss is one of the central people in this, so it's not a surprise that he wrote that article, by the way. So what else do we learn? Let's go and look at Browder's timelines here. What else is he saying? I want you to notice in this period around the Trump Tower meeting, a lot of his tweets. Here's the 11th. Some great reporting by the Wall Street Journal on the connection between the prosecutor and Natalia Veselnitskaya. Here's when the Kremlin says adoptions, it means sanctions. This is more of this BS about the narrative here. More good info on Veselnitskaya now coming out from U.S. court files. Apparently, she was denied entry into the U.S. Now, this is denied entry into the U.S. is an interesting thing. Now, by the way, remember I just showed you kind of can click through the articles and you can learn quite a bit doing that? Hang on. Stay with me here. Stay with me. Because I want to show you what's really going on here. Okay? Stay with me. I've been talking this morning about John Solomon. I talked about his connections to the to a George Soros-funded organization called the Center for Public Integrity. I talked about how he worked there in 2012. I talked about how he put out a fake story. I went through it in part 2 about how it's fake. I want you to notice this tweet comes a day before John Solomon's story. And it comes from Circa. You got me? And it says that she was denied entry. So that's the way it's being played to one crowd. Let's do what we did. Oops, let me just show it to you here. Hang on. So here's the article from Circa, right? Russian lawyer denied U.S. visa. By the way, this shows that she was being abused. This is a different story than Solomon reports the next day. Denied U.S. visa, I thought. By the way, let's see if we can get a sense of what Circa is just by looking at their current front page. Let's see what we get here. Are they on the left? Are they on the right? Kind of looks like a Lego Movie 2, kind of a BS newsy site. We'll talk about that. You probably don't read Circa. If you're on the right, certainly, you probably don't read Circa. So you probably didn't notice that this article had been out saying she was denied. This would make it seem like the Obama administration was against her. Anything in purpose of a smear. This actually shows that Preet Bharara was trying to get her. They were hassling Natalia Veselnitskaya. Preet Bharara, I'll talk about him later. But I want to point out where this is published. This is Circa. Remember I talked about John Solomon before? Remember I showed you his LinkedIn resume? Let's go back to that, shall we? Here's John Solomon's LinkedIn resume. He's the executive vice president at The Hill. But guess where else he works? Currently. Circa. He works for Circa News. The people who published that story I just told you with a very different narrative, there it is right there. January 2016, so he was working there at the time. Chief Creative Officer, that's a CEO type position. 3 years, he currently works there. There you go. Are you starting to understand how you're being played? I'm showing you his own resume. I'm showing you that he currently worked there and that this story comes out the day before in Circa. And again, it's not bylined by him, but gotten inside Donald Trump's inner circle. And just read the way this is. By her account, the Russian lawyer who managed to slide her way into, notice the biased language that they're using there. You're not watching journalism, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching a complex propaganda operation here with lots of moving parts, but lots of the same people right at the center of it. And Solomon is one of them. Are you getting it now? Do you understand what's happening? Now, let's look at more of Browder's tweets. You think he's obsessed with Veselnitskaya? top GOP senator wants to know how Russian lawyer was allowed to enter U.S. By the way, this is Grassley, who's sucked up completely to Browder every time. Oh, GOP senator wants to know. It's an article in the Daily Beast. Let's open it up. I haven't actually opened up this article. Let's see who wrote it. Do we have a byline on this? I don't even, don't forget, I got to point out, Michael Weiss is an editor there. So, and by the way, let me point out, I can do this real quickly for you, actually. Okay? Let's map this out. Okay. I want to map this out for you so you can see it. Okay? Michael Weiss literally worked for Khodorkovsky. Who's he? You may not know who he is. You should know who he is. Khodorkovsky directly paid for lobbying for the Magnitsky Act, which mentions him. It's right in there. Go look it up. And his lobbyist is Jonathan Weiner, who is also the attorney for Bill Browder, who is the guy with the Trump Tower meetings about, who of course is the guy behind the Magnitsky Act. He's the spokesperson. Actually, Weiner's the guy behind him, right? Actually, Jonathan Weiner's the guy behind him. You are watching, and by the way, Grassley is completely in favor of the Magnitsky Act. I don't know whether he's fooled or stupid or dishonest or he hasn't done any basic research, but that's what's going on. Now, hang on one sec. I can show it to you real quickly there, but if you don't take my, well, let me show you how to do it. I'll show you how to do it. You know what? I could tell you just to do it yourself, but let me try to show you. It's not hard. Okay, so if we type in the Magnitsky, Magnitsky Act law. Oops, what have I done? Hang on. I can't find my windows now. Hang on. You know what? I give up. I'm having a technical problem and I don't want to bore you. All I'm trying to do really is just give you a good sense of what's going on. You're being fooled. You're being lied to. You are being the subject. You and President Trump are the subject of a complex propaganda operation, which is exactly what the deep state's good at. These journalists on the left and the right are puppets. They are puppets. That's what you're being subjected to. You're being fooled. I got to find that Anthony Sutton thing. I ran it earlier. I was talking about who really runs the world. This is how they do it. Controlled opposition. It's created opposition. They set up a narrative on the left and the right to fool you with the same conclusion. That's what they're doing to you. Now, some of you respond emotionally and end up blocking me. Some of you care enough about this country and care enough about journalism, care enough about the truth to stick with it, and I really appreciate you guys. I'm going to roll now because, again, I'm getting pretty pissed off here. I really don't like, and Solomon's absolutely ensnared the president. He's tricked the president at this point. So does the president know? No, of course not, because Fox News has been promoting this guy Solomon every chance they get. If you have any questions, hit me up. Talk to you guys later. Love you.